Pat, tell me about, can an offensive line collectively have confidence, and tell me if they can as a group, how that's grown over the course of the year as you guys have been proving that you can run the football against teams like Ohio State, Oregon, Iowa, etc.
Yeah, I think we all believe in each other, and we all believe in Coach Bostad and Coach Leeds and their plan for us. They put in a tremendous amount of work during the week to put us in a chance to be successful, and just at the end of the day, give us a chance, right? Like all you can ask for is a chance on Saturday to in the box be able to have success. And it's really a numbers game at the end of the day. In the box, getting a hat on a hat, and our coaches have done an unbelievable job of just putting us in a chance to putting us in a place to have a chance to have success. So it's a credit to them, but it's also a credit to all of us and all of our hard work, and it's a never-ending grind. Just being able to run the football, it's a never-ending grind, and we gotta keep the pedal to the floor and keep finding ways to be successful and keep finding ways to improve.
Pat, Coach Sig has kind of been joking all week. He's got to keep you guys humble and hungry. How do you guys go about that, if it's even necessary in the locker room, keeping yourselves humble throughout these few weeks after everything?
Because I know the type of mindset we have, the type of mentality we have. We all know that we have a ton left to play for. We all know that, Saturday was a huge step for us. Saturday was a huge moment for us and a historic moment for us, but we also know it's not the end of the road for us. We know we have a ton left to play for. And really, at the end of the day, all of our goals are still in front of us. That was a huge goal for us, and we accomplished that goal, being Big Ten champions. But we got another one ahead of us, and we got to take these next 3.5 weeks or however long it is, and just find those inches of improvement, find those ways to improve and ultimately better our best. So, come January 1st, we have the best ability to go out there and have success.
Pat, Fernando's talked a lot through the last few months about sort of earning the right to be a leader for this team. As somebody who is a veteran, who obviously has kind of a distinct relationship with the quarterback, who maybe went through a similar process with this team as a transfer, whether it was one moment or a series of moments, did you feel like he got to that place where he had a quarterback's voice, he had a quarterback's sort of leadership, sort of position and respect with this group?
Yeah, totally. Great question. I think it's a build, right? Just like I've talked about, and he's said the same thing throughout the spring, throughout the summer. It's a build up. You have to gain trust by your actions. You're not going to gain trust just by saying it. You got to gain trust by actions and what you do on the field, what you do in the meeting rooms, what you do in the locker room, and that's where he's really took the biggest, stride. Is he's just an ultimate professional and an ultimate wonderful teammate in all three phases. He prepares like no one I've ever seen. He works his butt off like no one I've ever seen, and he's just an awesome locker room guy on top of that. So, if you had to pinpoint a moment in the season where we were kind of, I would say that hit against Iowa, when he got knocked out of bounds there at the end of the third quarter, I think that was a huge moment, for a rallying moment for this team, just to rally around our quarterback. And he really showed us, we knew it, right? We knew it, but he showed us, again, with his actions, that he'll do anything. He'll really do anything for us. He'll put his body on the line just to have a chance to have success. So that was probably a huge rallying moment, just looking back and having some perspective there.
Stand left with Mike and then go to Matt.
Yeah, you guys have not done a ton of rotating on the offensive line during a game, obviously, and switched a couple spots in the Big Ten title game. How do you guys kind of make that all work and kind of keep the consistency going? And then can you speak about just Johnny kind of rising to the moment? He's obviously played both sides in recent weeks, and a young kid, and Sig said he's got a lot of promise, but what have you seen from him?
Yeah. To answer the first part of the question, it's just, like I said earlier, it's the ultimate belief in one another. No matter who's in there, it's the belief in the room. We all know we can go get the job done at any moment. And it's a credit to those guys stepping in when their name gets called. And for Demola, just to see his growth in these past few weeks has been awesome to watch. I'm really happy for him, proud of him. He's taken exponential steps to really up his game and take on more responsibilities for this unit, for this offense. So he's got a whole bright future in front of him, but he's taken huge steps in these past few weeks alone. And he's putting together some really good performances and playing some really good ball. So I'm happy for him, and he knows he's got a long way to go. Like you said, he's a young player for sure, but just proud of the prep that he's put in, and he's really just put his head down and gone to work, and it showed up.
Second row right to Matt, and then Sammy.
Pat, on the kind of that same token, Drew had been out since I think like late October. Comes back. First game is against a really, really good defensive line in Ohio State. Just your thoughts on getting him back, how huge that was, and just how he was able to basically get right back up to speed against a tough opponent.
Yeah, he's a grinder, man. Drew's not gonna say much. He's a pretty silent kid, but he's an absolute grinder and a workhorse. Really happy for him, like I said, and proud of him in the way he just battles in there. He's a warrior. He's in the training facility, treatment room every single day for hours a day, just making sure he's getting his body right and making sure he's on the path to get a chance back to play. And so I'm happy for him to be able to come back and play huge minutes for us and really step into that role again, and be successful. I was really happy to see him back in there. He's huge for us and a big part of what we do and how we have success.
Stand right with Sammy, and then go to Joe.
Pat, Curt Cignetti coming into the season said the offensive line needed to get to the next level. It's a big reason why he brought you in and a couple of the other transfers who've been in those big moments. I know that the job's not finished yet, but did you take that challenge personally, and how do you think you've risen to that challenge so far?
Yeah, absolutely. I think those big moments are what you play for, right? Those big games, the Iowas, the Oregons, the Illinois, Penn State, the final drives, the Big Ten championship. It's like, as a competitor, that's what you live for and that's what you play for. And especially as an offensive line, you take pride in those moments and being able to have success in those moments, those gotta-have-it moments. So absolutely, I think, one of the first things Coach Sig said to me when he called me on, when I was in the transfer portal was, he needed a guy that can shine in those big moments. And I think collectively we've done our hardest to do that for him. We still have a long ways to go and we still have a lot of room to improve. And that's an exciting part because we got 3 weeks here to go improve and put our best foot forward on January 1st. So, but absolutely, I think, the offensive line is absolutely crucial in big moments like that, in big games like that. So, happy that we can come out, the other side of it successful.
Go third row to Joe, and then Daniel.
Pat, Aiden just talked about how Fernando Mendoza, potentially the best player in all of college football, the Heisman winner in his eyes. What is it about him that he's knocking on the door to take home the most prestigious individual award of the sport? Yeah,
I mean, he's absolutely the Heisman. I'll campaign him for myself. Like, we all see how talented he is, and I've said this numerous times, but, we all see the arm talent he possesses, the ability to put the ball in the perfect spot like we saw, 3rd and 6 or whatever it was with Charlie in the fourth quarter, the perfect spot, like just all game long. But the kid is tough as nails, and I think that's the unspoken part about him, and the part that really separates him is like, I mean, we all saw the shot he took on the first play of the game, and just over and over, just being able to rise and get up off the ground, the ability to just take that and still put his body on the line continuously for the team. He is absolutely the Heisman. He's absolutely the best quarterback in the country, without a doubt in my mind. And he's absolutely the toughest quarterback in the country. There's no doubt in my mind. He is our rock, and he is the reason we have so much success on Saturdays. Yeah, I'm happy for him. He's put in so much work to be able to shine in moments like that. and he deserves it all for sure.
We'll go on the left to Daniel, then Nicole.
The art of the speeches that you provide pregame, like how do you, is this like you're planning out the speech? Like how do you choose what you want to say? And like when did you kind of become, like I think you had one last year in the playoff run that was viral. When did you kind of start with those?
No, it's definitely not planned out. It's kind of just how the pregame process goes. Like, it did start last year, just under different circumstances, and it was a different part of pregame. But I was a vocal leader last year for sure. There's no doubt. And then this year, you know, we all after we come in for warm-ups, we have about 20 minutes or so, and Coach Shanahan says his final pieces, gives us the game plan, the rundown of, you know, what we're going to start the game with, you know, what we're going to start the first third and short, third and long, you know, and then gives his final pieces. And then it kind of just started as me, like, breaking down the unit, maybe saying a sentence or two, and then it kind of just led into more. No, it's definitely not planned out. It's really just bits and pieces of what I hear from the coaching staff throughout the week and what I really feel in my heart is best for the offense to hear. What will really strike a chord with me personally. It starts with me, and then what I believe will strike a chord with everybody else and what everyone else, you know, needs to hear and how, you know, stuff like that. But no, I try my best not to plan it out. I don't want it to be fake or faked or anything like that. It's not how it goes for sure.
Top right to Nicole, and we'll wrap with Pete.
I imagine last year's college football playoff run brought some unique experiences for you, but people describe the Rose Bowl as like unlike anything else. Do you have any like friends, former teammates who've experienced it, maybe talk to you about what you guys can expect when you go out to Pasadena?
No, I don't believe so, but I am very excited. It is, you know, the granddaddy of them all, as they say. So very excited. I already have so many family and friends texting me about how they're going to go out there because of how big that game is. So very excited, and it's a great opportunity for us.
All right, last one on your left to Pete.
Yeah, hey, Pat, last year, every team that got a bye lost last year. What do you, as a team and then individually, do to keep that competitive fire? And would that mean including, like, watching Rocky movies, banning the Hallmark Channel? I mean, what do you do to stay competitive?
You know, that's I believe it starts with mentality, first of all, just that ability to not relax. You know, obviously we're going to take a few days here and there to get our bodies right, and it's been a long 4 months of a season, right? And we've earned the right to have time off. But at the end of the day, and again, we can't use that time off to relax, if that makes sense. There's going to be areas to improve all across the board. You know, starting with the offensive line, absolutely there's areas to improve, and we have to have the urgency to improve. We have to use these 3 weeks to the best of our abilities and improve in every facet of the game. So like I said, on January 1st, come January 1st, we have the ability to go out there and perform at our highest level, be the best version of us, and go out there and have success.
Great. Thanks, Pat.
Thank you, guys.